So, we went 10 episodes before we had to do another remote recording.
That's good. That was good. Wait, it's been 10 weeks, really?
10 weeks, exactly.
Huh.
The last remote recording episode was episode 49. This is 59. And here we are
What,
once again.
what was the reason for it?
I don't remember. It was probably me, right? Or something? Or you?
Oh, yeah, you had COVID and me and Phil did it, right?
No, but that wasn't the one that happened because I think that was like 51? 50? No. No, because it's the one I have labeled, and I don't know how you and Phil recorded. I assumed y'all did it in the same room, but if you did it remotely, then you did it remotely. But no,
Yeah, I remember
I
we
think
did
it
it
was.
remotely
I think it was.
on Zoom.
I had a scare, so I was like, all right, we gotta do it. We gotta do it remotely. Anyways,
Oh,
so ladies and gentlemen, we are recording this episode remotely, and if you can guess why, it's not the one who had COVID before.
it's the other one.
It's
Me.
the other one. Connor, you've got COVID, buddy.
Yeah, I contracted it from a friend. It's kind of sucks because it's one of those situations where I almost avoided it
Oh,
because I almost didn't go to his place, and I
Oh.
decided, yeah, I'll go to his place. And then that ended up being a regret.
And then the next day, he was like, "Hey, guess what?"
Yeah, I was like, oh, shit. And then I thought I had allergies instead of COVID, but turns out probably
You
just
got COVID. You got COVID.
Yeah.
So how bad is it right now for you, buddy?
Well, I got the vaccine, so I'm assuming it is that protected me against the bad symptoms, so I can still smell, I can still taste.
It's down. It's
I
down
don't have a fever. Yeah. So I just
No,
have
to be
like
fair, when I
cough.
had it, when I had it, I also kept my senses. I also did not have a fever, but I had the worst case of flu I've ever had in my life, and it knocked
No.
me out for a week. Like I couldn't sit up, like let alone stand or walk around. Like
I do remember that. Yeah.
my voice was shot. Like it did a number on me. So I'm glad you're mostly okay. I'm glad you can still kind of hang out and relax. But what have you got? You got some coughing? You got some mucus? You got some what do you got?
Yeah, definitely some congestion. It'll probably go away soon. And I think most of my quarantine will be pretty relaxing as far as as much as it can be having COVID because I'll just stay in my room and play video games.
There you go. That's how
Not really
it's
a problem.
done. That's how it's done. Well, thank God it's only that. Thank God you're
I know.
hoping to be better soon. And hope you get well soon, buddy. Let me tell you about
Thanks.
my little health escapade this week that I've had.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I've been having this issue for months where I'll eat something and then I'll start coughing. And that has
Okay.
progressed into coughing and then vomiting. And this is something
What the hell?
Yeah, I've been dealing with this for probably about 9 months now. And I don't vomit every time. It's just sometimes. Like right now, I'm clearing my throat and I'm coughing because I just finished a burrito right before we started recording this. Excuse me, I took a sip of water. And I'm pretty sure that I will not be vomiting up this burrito, but check back with me in about 20 minutes when I have to pause the show. Anyways, but yeah, so I went to the doctor about it, and I was telling him what was going on. He was like, "Any pain?" I was like, "No." Your poops? Are your poops normal? I said, "Yeah, my poops are normal." And he was like, okay. Well, I'll be honest. This could be a number of things. It could be just like some kind of gastric intestinal blockage thing that's happening, or you have cancer."
What? Well, which is
And then
it?
he's like, and then there's like 6 things in between those things that it could also be. And I was like, well, it's probably not cancer, but thanks for the heads up.
So you don't know what it is?
No, I don't. I'm waiting for some X-rays to come back. I'm currently collecting stool samples to send to them, and then I gotta go see a GI doc when all of that comes through.
I didn't know you were going through that.
It's a lot of
Never mentioned
fun.
any of it.
It's a lot of fun, man.
It's
It's a lot of fun.
So you gotta bag your shit then?
What was that?
You gotta bag your shit then?
I've gotta poke it with a little wooden stick and smear it on like an envelope, and then I wrap the
Yep.
envelope up and I put it inside another envelope.
And whoever has to analyze that must be in for a fun time.
Oh yeah, man. I'm 2 out of 3 samples down. I got one more. Hopefully, I've collected one today. Hopefully I'll be able to collect one tonight. Probably not though, knowing my body. Probably tomorrow. Hopefully, fingers crossed. We'll see. Anyways, Connor,
Jesus.
we've got a show to do, buddy.
Yeah. In light of all that.
So, let's go ahead and drop some sense on them. Welcome back, everybody, to the Two Penny Gamescast. I am your host, Tavin Bothel, here with my sniffly friend, Connor Elliott. Say hello to people, Connor.
Hi, guys.
Hi, guys. If you didn't know, this show comes to you every Monday, 8 a.m. Central, youtube.com/2pennygamescast, mainstream podcast services of your choice, such as Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast. Take a pick. Please drop a follow, drop a subscribe, drop a like, maybe a comment. Let us know how you feel about the show. We really do appreciate it. Maybe share it to a friend or two who likes some video game shit, and some talk about actual shit, and some talk about COVID occasionally, but like casual talk, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Only when it affects us.
Right. If you wanted to see us play video games live, you could go do that over at twitch.tv/2pennygames, where every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Central, me and my good buddy Phil, we do a little show called Hype, H-Y-E-P, Have You Ever Played, in which one of us shows the other one a game they have never played before. We are currently making our way through Uncharted 2. We are most definitely finishing that up this week, so come please check that out. And then I think we're starting Jack and Daxter 2 after that, immediately after that. So, it's going to be a long day. It's going to be a fun day. We're going to have a good time. You can also catch the edited down streams over on youtube.com/2pennygamescast. You can currently see the entirety of Phil's first playthrough of Metal Gear Solid 1 and about half of my playthrough of Kingdom Hearts 1 for the first time ever. Is currently up, that is. Connor, if the people didn't know,
My name.
if you didn't know, the way we do this show is every week we come to the people with the new video game news that they need to know about. Each of us brings 2 topics to the table, 2 pennies, if you will, and we give you our 2 cents on them. Connor, this week we gotta talk about some stuff that's going down, buddy. We gotta talk about.
We do.
I've
Things.
only seen it a few times happen, but it's really unfortunate that it keeps happening. So I don't know if you know about this, Connor. There's some hate raids going on over at the Twitch.tvs.
Yes, I've been hearing about that.
Some people of color, some women, etc., are all getting just bombarded with hate over there on the internet, and it's caused the community to finally take a stand and do something about it. So, pulling an article from The Verge by Ash Parrish, after weeks of hate raids, Twitch streamers are taking a day off in protest. On Wednesday, September 1st, a number of channels will go dark as streamers participate in #ADayOffTwitch, a walkout designed to bring attention to the ongoing hate and harassment that's plagued the platform for the last several weeks. Created by Twitch streamers Shiny Pen, Lucia Everblack, and Wreck-It Raven, the walkouts aim to bring greater awareness to the problems creators are suffering on Twitch. The Verge spoke with these organizers, streamers, and others to talk about #ADayOffTwitch, how they're coping with the precipitous rise of hate raids, and what they hope the platform will do to protect its users in the future. A Day Off Twitch was born out of the #TwitchDoBetter movement, a hashtag created by streamers affected by the hate raids that have exploded across Twitch in recent weeks. Though the action of bombing a streamer's chat with racist, sexist, transphobic, and generally abusive messages is not new, the phenomenon has seen a drastic increase thanks to users employing bots to overwhelm chats with hundreds of automatically generated messages. In response to what they thought was Twitch's slow response to the abuse, streamer Wreck-It Raven created the #TwitchDoBetter hashtag to urge the Amazon-owned streaming platform to deploy better tools to stem the tide of harassment. Twitch has promised that fixes are forthcoming, but in the meantime, streamers are left to contend against the hate raids with community-developed tools and resources. Shiny Pen, a Filipino trans streamer, thought more should be done in addition to talking out the problem, so he decided to organize a quote, Day Off Twitch is largely about coming together in solidarity. The one day off is a step in the many steps we have to take towards change, Shiny tells The Verge. So yeah, well, that's about it for the article here. And
Yeah,
so everybody protested. They took a day off of Twitch this last Wednesday, and though it was nice to see everybody unified against hate in these ways, I don't think it's done much.
No, I mean, it can spur Twitch to action to be more proactive in trying to prevent that kind of stuff because they don't want all their streamers just leaving their platform.
Of course.
But it's just for a day. And it's only happened once, so it's, Twitch obviously has incentive to just want to stop this problem in the first place, but it's not really going to do much, unfortunately.
Yes. Now, here we go. Well, actually, let me scroll down to the bottom of the article. Let me make sure, maybe, because Twitch gave a tweet. It did a tweet a while ago. I want to say in mid-August. About this. Let me find it. Here we go. But yeah, I agree with you. Twitch obviously doesn't want, their big streamers checking out, and they definitely don't want, guys to or just in mass numbers their content creators to dip out. But I can't seem to find the tweet. But Twitch acknowledged this hate raid trend all the way back in August. I want to say it was like mid-August, somewhere around the 16th, if my memory serves me correctly. But take that with a grain of salt. It's out there. I've seen it. And since then, the trend has only gotten worse. And man, it's really just unfortunate that why, why? Why is this a thing that people feel the need to do? They find it funny, or they find a way to make themselves feel better about how shitty of a person they are. They
want to do a little trolling.
It's a lot of trolling, man, and it affects a lot of people. And it's not enough to just knock it off as trolling, but it's just man, this is fucking sick. I really wish people were just better. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, on a platform like Twitch, I in fairness to Twitch themselves, it's kind of a hard problem to solve as well, because it's just, it's just people typing in chat is pretty much what it is, as far as I could tell, unless some of them have actually, received emails, things outside of Twitch itself.
Yeah, it's
kind of a hard thing.
Coordinated thing. It's not a thing that people can plan for or deal with. It's just all of a sudden there's a bunch of bot accounts in your chat talking shit to you because you are who you are. So I can see how it's a real big issue to try and figure this out, but when you're backed by Amazon, the biggest company in the world with the most dollars in the world, I feel like it should be pretty easy to fast track your way to some kind of solution, or at least be able to implement some kind of policy to where you're okay, this happened, we can do this for you now or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Or
even hey, this happened to you, it sucks. Let's promote your channel and put you on the front page for a little while. Excuse the sniffles, man.
Yeah, I know. It's hitting all hard all of a sudden.
It's tough, man. I'm sorry.
I know. But yeah, it's there. You're right. There's those ways as well. I'm not very familiar with the length that they can go, Twitch, that is, to actually, make up for this kind of stuff, even if it's not their fault.
I just feel like
it's overall.
Go ahead.
It's overall just a shitty situation, and that you can't really do that much about. It's about the situation itself.
Right. Well, if you're having trouble blocking or fixing the issue, then find a way to supplement or make up for it in some way, whether that be through promotion, free subs, something to incentivize these creators to stay on this platform, to say, hey, no, we really do want you here, instead of putting out a statement that's saying, hey, yeah, we know it's a problem, we're working on it, and then going dark for half a month. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, really unfortunate. We're lucky to be just a bunch of white guys who nobody knows about, so we don't get a lot of hate on all of that. But man, it's just gross. Do better, people. Anyways, speaking of doing better, ? Connor, let's move on. That was my first penny, I believe I said. But let's move on to your first penny of the day.
Yes.
China is doing something interesting. So, pulling an article from IGN by Taylor Lyles, China sets 3-hour limit for kids playing online video games. Beginning September 1st, video game companies like NetEase and Tencent are required to limit online gaming to just 3 hours per week for minors, according to new rules imposed by Chinese regulators. As reported first by Bloomberg, children under the age of 18 will only be allowed to game for 1 hour between 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, as well as public holidays. Additionally, game companies are required to restrict online gaming during these hours and must enforce a real name verification system in place, according to Reuters. This is not the first time video game limits were imposed in China. In 2018, Tencent implemented a similar system where it enforced age checks and limited time spent on its mobile game Honor of Kings to 1 hour per day for children up to the age of 12, while children between the ages of 13 and 18 were restricted to playing for a maximum of 2 hours a day. This new regulation, the new regulations serve as a broad crackdown on China's tech giants, in addition to combating game addiction in China. Roughly a month ago, a Chinese state-run publication published an article describing online gaming as a spiritual opium before removing the phrase. Though the National Press and Publication Administration noted that online gaming influences minors' mental and physical health in its announcement post. These rules are only limited to online gaming and do not directly mention if non-online games will be restricted in this capacity. The new regulations also do not clarify whether or not console games and foreign titles will be required to comply with local regulations.
That last part really does speak to the case that these guys are just doing it to try and control kids. I mean, China doesn't have a good history of respecting the rights and the treating their citizens as good people. I guess that's a bad way to put it, but yeah, overall, this is just kind of shitty. There's nothing really else other to say about it than that.
I moderately agree with you. The idea of a spiritual opium, that's kind of fucked up with China's opium crisis, but okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's definitely it seems to me like some kind of I agree with you. It's definitely just enforcing control over the youth. Because clearly, like, if you're online, you can get matched with who knows who, and if that brings outside perspectives or outside thoughts and ideas, that could upset hierarchies of certain governments and so forth. So I agree. This is a restriction of rights and a way to enforce control over people. But there's a huge cultural piece that I'm missing, being some just white American who focuses mostly on his white American issues. But yeah, no, none of this is really that cool to me. And it's definitely a sign to be like, okay, we should definitely, count our blessings. We're often very negative in this space. And with gaming as a whole, people tend to be quite negative. So I think it's important that we often count our blessings. And it's like, hey man, you can play whatever you want, whenever you want, for however you want here. And there's a lot of other people, and there's a lot of other young people who don't have the same privilege there. But I gotta say, like, 1 hour per day, like, how do servers even compete with this? Like, it just sounds like you're just driving traffic and bottlenecking traffic, so, like, their online experience isn't even going to be that great anyway. You know what I'm saying?
It pretty much, I mean, that's probably part of the reason why they're doing this, so they don't actually play it in general. It's a way to wean younger people off video games so they focus on other things. I mean, any legislation passed by any government around the world on video games is usually going to be stupid, because the people who are controlling those kinds of things threw rocks at each other when they were kids. That was like their idea of fun. So it doesn't really make much sense that they know what they're talking about. They just don't.
You motherfuckers were playing in the mud with your sticks and stones.
They were. That's all they like. How can you expect someone like that to just all of a sudden know about video games?
That's not a Chinese bag. That's an old people bag. Just to be clear.
Yeah. Rock fights.
Oh my god, that's fucking funny. Oh man, oh god, can you imagine us being kids and only being able to play for a combined 3 hours a week?
I mean, I just wouldn't play online games anymore, because like they mentioned that they can't really enforce it.
It's just more effort than it's worth. Well, I mean,
it really is.
All of those servers would be shut off outside of those hours. They can enforce that. So unless you like log on to servers on the other side of the world, you're kind of stuck there. But I imagine they can even like trace back to IPs IP addresses and so forth, and really push that if they want. But at the same time, like, you're really gonna punish a kid for playing video games like online? That's super fucked up.
Oh yeah, it's a spiritual opium.
Hopefully, like they hint at the end of this thing, it's only limited to online gaming and not just regular gaming. But online games a lot more popular overseas than well, here in the States they're plenty popular, of course. But single player games pop off in European spaces and in American spaces and Japanese spaces. So I don't know. It's unfortunate. It's not something I like seeing, and it's unfortunately nothing we can really do with over here.
Yeah, we can barely do anything over here in this country. We can't do anything in China.
Facts.
Yeah,
all
unfortunately.
Right. Connor, speaking of big companies flexing for control, let's move on here to your second topic, or your second penny here. Yep. Take-Two is suing the creators of GTA 3 and Vice City reverse engineering projects. This is an article from VGC by Chris Scullion. Take-Two Interactive is suing a group of programmers who have reverse engineered the source code for Grand Theft Auto 3 and Grand Theft Auto Vice City. The suit, which was filed in California, is aimed at 14 programmers from around the world who have been working together to make derivative to make derivative source code for both games. The result is the RE3 project, which offers, quote, the fully reversed source code for GTA 3 and GTA VC, as well as ports of the games for Switch, Wii U, and Vita. The project also includes some improvements to the original game, including bug fixes, a rotatable camera, X input controller support on PC, widescreen support, and no loading screens between islands. Many reverse engineering teams believe their work is technically made legal because they do not use leaked source code and instead recreate the original games from scratch using modern coding languages. Projects like RE3's also contain no actual Rockstar created assets such as music, dialogue, and imagery. So, players need to own a copy of GTA 3 to build their own port using the reverse engineered code. Recently, a similar fan effort was able to fully reverse engineer Super Mario 64 and port it to PC and other platforms. Those efforts took more than 2 years, and so far, Nintendo has not taken legal action against its creators, something very un-Nintendo-like. Despite this, Take-Two is now suing the programmers who worked on the GTA project, claiming they are, quote, well aware that they do not possess the right to copy, adapt, or distribute derivative GTA source code or audio-visual elements of the game, and that doing so constitutes as copyright infringement. According to the suit, Take-Two tried to remove the RE3 project from GitHub, but 3 of the programmers, quote, knowingly filed bad faith counter notifications that materially misrepresented the legality of their content, apparently claiming that because they allegedly reverse engineered the game's source code, they somehow cannot be liable for copyright infringement. The suit claims that the project is, quote, irreparable harm to Take-Two, end quote, and that the programmers have, quote, have appropriated a market that belongs to Take-Two, namely the market for modified or handheld versions of the games, and enabled countless others to now create their own unauthorized derivative versions of the games, end quote. It continues. I'm sorry. By copying, adapting, and distributing source code and other content related to the games, defendants have deliberately and intentionally infringed Take-Two's protectable expression, the company argues. Take-Two has never authorized or given consent to defendants to use their copyrighted works in the manner complained of herein. Accordingly, the defendants have infringed Take-Two's exclusive rights under copyright. Connor, Take-Two kind of being a dick.
Yeah, I don't think they're causing irreparable harm to Take-Two.
No, not at all. I think
singles it out as just being a stupid control thing, kind of like what happened with the last story we covered. They don't want people doing what they want with their games, even if it's questionably legal. Honestly, the the legality of this is kind of confusing to me.
And it is to me as well. But I think it's intentionally confusing in order to benefit Take-Two here. So let me double back here where it says projects like RE3's also contain no actual Rockstar created assets such as music, dialogue, and imagery. So players need to own a copy of GTA 3 to build their own port using the reverse engineered code. So you've had to have given Take-Two the money. It's just players who already have the game who want an easier way to play it instead of digging out their old PS2s.
Yeah, Take-Two's profiting, so they shouldn't be complaining, especially when it's just a good thing being made. It's
exactly. So
allowing more people to play their games in the best way possible. So, yeah, this is all just them trying to control their product, even if they don't need to control it.
Absolutely, and I think it has. Excuse me. And I think it has a lot to do with these. Was it rumored or was it confirmed? Those the GTA PS2 trilogy remasters that were announced. We covered it on the show. Were they announced or were they?
I know.
Yeah, let me look it up.
I don't think they were announced. Let me see.
GTA remasters. No, but and then there's probably even an argument to be made. Remastered trilogy.
Apparently it's leaked, so it's still rumored.
Rumors are ricocheting far and wide. Okay, yeah. And it was leaks. Okay. So yeah, it's clearly just an effort to control the product, and they don't want widespread, quote unquote pirated copies, even though this isn't really pirating, of versions of their games, which could arguably be better than the remasters we're allegedly getting in next year or whenever we're supposed to get that. So it's clearly just so that they can, swing their big dick around and flex on them. Like, I mean, we had Super Mario 64 port to Switch last year, and we have an equivalent to this out there on PC, and Nintendo has taken no action. And for those who don't know, Nintendo takes actions against everything. For a long time, they were taking actions against YouTubers for playing their games and posting videos online with them. Not so much the case anymore. Nintendo's kind of learned begrudgingly to not to be a little more loose with what they're doing. But like, I mean, if Nintendo's not doing it, then what? Come on, Take-Two. What are we doing here?
Yeah, Nintendo is one of the worst defenders of this kind of stuff. So
exactly. So
it's just kind of pathetic.
Yeah. Now you're just looking. You're looking like some straight assholes, and it's like nobody's making any money off of this, and
no.
It's not like they're selling copies. It's not like they're damaging the image of these games. Like, and when these remasters come out, guess what? Everyone who does this reverse engineer shit is gonna buy the remasters too. Just because they either want to see what these new remasters look like, and these reverse engineered versions of the game, it's the same polygonal models. It still looks like shit. Like, well, not like shit, but it still looks like a PS2 game. It's just now in widescreen and probably a higher frame rate or something. But it's really nothing to be have your panties in a bunch about bug fixes. Okay, you can rotate the camera now. What the fucking do? Just annoying. Annoying. Connor,
you did expect this kind of stuff from these people, though.
Absolutely, you do. Absolutely, yeah. This is some corporate shit. This is some like we got a lawyer up for just so that we can set precedent down the line for when people start to pirate said whatever other property we have, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So they just hit everything instead of being like, yeah, this is actual infringement or this isn't infringement. So, and they word it in confusing ways in order to confuse the public and lawyers and juries and so forth and judges and so forth. So just a big pain in the ass.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see how this entire lawsuit plays out.
I assume corporate wins. They got more money.
They do. And I don't think these GTA people who are reverse engineering the source code will probably want to fight this much over something like this. I mean, it seems like this is probably just a fan project.
Yeah, well, if the Mario 64 project took 2 years, and this is 2 or 3 games, I can imagine it took quite a bit of time as well. But we need to be better as there's a conversation happening that I've seen in certain spaces. I saw Phil Spencer talking about it recently, and I think like Pete Hines at Bethesda has talked about it, and there's some other talks about it. Sony's really bad about it specifically. We don't do enough to uphold the history of this medium. Like, we don't have like video game Hall of Fames. We don't have like a library of things we can dip back into and play these original games. Like, there's a lot of games that are getting lost to time. When games were cartridge based and they were all based off of whatever battery was in the cartridge, and once those batteries die, the game dies. Like, there are games being lost to time that are important when retelling, the story of video games. That, like, if we don't start acting now, we're gonna lose a lot. And this extends even to all the way up to PlayStation 3 titles. Like, Metal Gear Solid 4 is tracked on that console, and who knows if or when we're ever gonna get it on any other type of modern day console. And PlayStation 3s are starting to enter the era of being able to be considered retro.
Mm-hmm.
And, another 10 years passes, and then it's going to be hard for anybody to get their hands on a PlayStation 3. Let alone, a working copy of Metal Gear Solid 4.
Mm-hmm. And too bad I can't do anything about that. I know you can't.
No, it's a cultural effort that we should definitely move into. But I don't know. It's just an interesting idea that I've been kicking around for a little while. Connor, let's move on to our final topic here. And my second penny of the day. Connor, there was a little bit of a Dead Space breakdown this last week.
I was surprised of it. I didn't expect them to. They obviously did the reveal trailer. When did they do it? What event was taking place?
I was out of town. I was in Florida when I saw it. It was during E3 times. I want to say it was an EA Play Live event. Is what it was.
That makes
it was some
sense.
kind of EA centric event held around the times of all the E3 news that was coming out.
Well, I expected that to be the only thing we're going to get for a while, but turns out I guess they had more stuff to show people.
I did as well. Now, were you looking at everything they showed? Did you see what they showed off, or where are you at with this?
I saw some of the screenshot. I saw the main screenshot. I don't know if there were other ones. I couldn't find them, and I saw the dismemberment system being broken down.
Yeah, so here, let me just go ahead and pull an article. I went and watched most of it. I didn't watch all of it because it was very technical, and a lot of this is still very clearly early in development, but it's just them showing off basically what they're doing with this Dead Space remake and how they're implementing new systems and new gameplay design that either wasn't available when they made the first one or was something that was developed in sequels that they want to implement and bring back to the first one. So, pulling an article from IGN, Matt Kim, Dead Space Remake, combat, graphics, and everything else we learned from the first dev showcase. EA Motive gave a very early look at the development of the Dead Space Remake. But there was plenty to share, including a look at the graphical improvements, combat physics, story tweaks, and bringing back Gunnar Wright to voice Isaac Clarke. The Dead Space remake was announced earlier this year and is a fully next-gen remake of the 2000 horror game built from the ground up in Frostbite. We learned that EA Motive will craft improvements where necessary while still being faithful to the original game. Here's everything we learned at today's dev showcase. Okay, so we're not going to keep reading at this, but they went super in-depth into how they're changing things with lighting to really build out that atmosphere and build out how everything is looking in that sense of dread that builds into the game. They very specifically pointed out the infamous headbanger hallway, which I think is a classic.
Love that one.
I think it's a classic Dead Space moment and something that I'm very excited to see re-envisioned with this fresh coat of paint. And they're using lighting in a bunch of different creative ways in which it makes the Ishimura look a little more livable, but obviously still trashed and still haunted with all of these necromorphs and stuff. So that's all very cool. They released there was like some dev kit programming, like running a camera through a 3D space to kind of give you an idea. There was a little bit of, quote unquote gameplay. It's really just Isaac standing in a hallway and walking around a little bit to just kind of show you the sort of the bar they're looking to aim. And we're so early in this, it's even possible that it could look better than what they're showing to us now. Or, maybe they'll have to pull back on their ideas through the cost of development. Of course, when you're, 12 years older, or when your game is, over a decade old, like, of course it's going to look better. And Dead Space 1, I don't think, it doesn't look terrible for a video game, but definitely looks like a 2008 video game. So it's very exciting to see all the work that's going in here. They did a special look at dismemberment in Dead Space. Very, I think everybody knows, very important mechanic in Dead Space. Don't shoot for, center mass. Don't really aim for the heads. You gotta take them apart limb from limb to really do some damage. So they went like super in depth as to how bullets take off chunks of flesh and skin and bone. And it looks graphic. Ooh, I like it. And how and how there's more places on the necromorphs to dismember them. So, it's not, you're not like shooting at the wrist and the entire elbow falls off. You know what I'm saying? You have to actually hit the elbow to get the elbow to fall off, et cetera, et cetera. And how you have to kind of chip away at each of those individual parts. Where, Connor, correct me if I'm wrong, let's say I shoot in the original game, because you've played it more recently than me. I shoot a necromorph in the thigh, and then I shoot him in the shin. And let's say it takes 2 shots to knock a leg out. That leg goes out no matter what. Correct?
Yeah. Yes, it does.
It kind of works like that. Whereas here, if I shoot him in the thigh and then shoot him in the shin, I've basically just shot him twice in 2 different spots, and I've got to continue doing damage to those original spots that I've done to get that dismemberment working. All very cool, all very exciting. More chunks flying off, all very excited about that. Gunnar Wright coming back as Isaac Clarke, great. They broke down rules for Dead Space, for this Dead Space remake, with Isaac talking. And they have like a little post here where it says rules for Isaac's dialogue. 1, Isaac will primarily only speak when spoken to. And 2, Isaac will sometimes speak in a situation where it would feel weird if he remained silent. So, this is kind of cool, because in Dead Space 1, he's more of a silent protagonist.
He doesn't talk a single time.
Yeah, he doesn't really have any actual voice lines. He's got grunts and yells and, makes pain noises. But he doesn't have any voice lines. So I like that they're going, and they're like, hey, man, that was... as we, in 2 and in 3, we developed Isaac as an actual character. So we're going to do that, but we're going to keep it kind of reserved to kind of keep that essence of the original Dead Space. How do you feel about that, Connor?
I do like it a lot. I mean, obviously the point of a remake is to do new things with it. Unless you're Final Fantasy VII, keep it the same way as the old game was.
Right.
One of the things that they could easily update is actually giving Isaac Clarke a voice, for example. That's something that is kind of missed out in the first Dead Space, especially knowing about Dead Space 2 and 3, where he's a guy that talks all the time. And it works. It's from what they're saying they're going to do with this game. It's going to work the same as like Dead Space 2, because Dead Space 2 he would only talk to other people. It's not like he's making comments everywhere he goes.
Where in Dead Space 2 Isaac is going insane? Is there no moments where like something would jump out at him, but it would only be a figment of his imagination, and he'd go, "Oh shit, what the fuck," or some shit? Did he not do that?
Yeah, he did do that. I guess that's also usually he would always accompany dialogue, because usually things would be talking to him at that time. And
got you.
Like what's the word? Not joking with him, but what's the word? Damn.
But there would be like auxiliary dialogue with Isaac in 2. I know for sure there wasn't 3.
There wasn't 3.
I think they're trying to pull back on all of that and only have him speak when absolutely necessary, in order to keep that atmosphere up and keep that tone up. We can't have Isaac Clarke, Nathan Draking his way through the Ishimura, you know what I'm saying?
No, that'd be a little bit weird.
A little bit weird. And then finally they gave a good I should also say no microtransactions. Great. Microtransactions killed Dead Space 3. But then they gave quite a bit of time to Zero G and how they broke down how Zero G worked in the first game, and then how it went to work for the rest of the franchise, and they were like, honestly, not the best thing we did the first time around. With the like, you would basically aim to a different part of standable, or like a different part of terrain that you could walk on, and he would like Superman jump his way over there in 0G, and then just kind of land on that. Whereas in 2 and in 3, there was more of a like a how would you call it? Like there's like movement with thrusters and stuff, so you were kind of flying around in a 0G in a 360-degree type of way in the sequels. So I think that's to really help with pacing and so forth. But Connor, remind me, there's a lot of puzzles in that first game that's based around the 0G elements, so that means all of those puzzles and environments are going to have to be completely reworked, correct?
Yes. I mean, those... And Zero Gravity was fun. It was improved upon in 2, obviously, with the thruster pack, that you could just, like, fly around instead of going from one, wall to the other, which was the basis for how you did Zero Gravity. That's, once again, there's certain things that are really well done in the original Dead Space, but with something like a remake, can only make them better. My big issue overall with the Dead Space remake is they just keep that horror element to it. Like, keep you on your toes, create a very
that tension,
overwhelming atmosphere. Yeah, atmosphere is a big part of that game. Pretty much the entire horror comes from the atmosphere rather than the actual monsters you're fighting. So as long as they keep that up, in addition to all of these new things they're doing, it'll be a great game.
And I think they're so far they've been doing a really good job of saying, "Hey, man, we're fans of this too, and we want it to be great also." So,
oh yeah. I mean, I have no reason to.
As of right now, I'm all positive on this.
I'm all on board.
And then it's just a matter of time and whenever we get this. Clearly, they're still pretty early in development. Clearly, they're not ready to show us their big gameplay reveal with all the shiny bells and whistles and graphical what is the word, like graphical prowess and so forth. But I do enjoy these little updates that we're getting here, and how they're like, hey man, yes, Isaac will speak this time, but only when necessary. And they're like, hey man, we're really diving in deep, and we're gonna do some really cool things with dismemberment and really change how dismemberment adds to the thrill of Dead Space. And I think that'll really reignite some energy into this original Dead Space. And I think they're doing a good job of saying, like, hey man, you really are getting that experience again, but we're doing some things in order to make it worth your while to experience this again. You're not getting just straight up the same game again, but you are getting what you expect. Unlike games like Final Fantasy VII Remake is a perfect example. Or, even like Resident Evil 2 Remake, where it's like, listen, we're just making a new game with the same bones of the old one. So, like, things like story and RE2 are the same. Things like locations are the same. But the environments are completely different. Puzzles are completely different. Gameplay is completely different. This, it's like, well, gameplay's mostly the same. We're going to do some changes, that... we're done better in the second and third game, or things that like we can just improve upon entirely. I'm excited to see how crafting kind of works in this remake here, because like crafting, kind of was focused on in the third game for the most part, but there was like some like getting going to your upgrade benches and plotting out your upgrade trees and figuring out how to do that. So I'm excited for if and whenever they drop that and they show us some of that, or if they just wait for the full game release. Good times.
Yep, it'll be fun to see it play when it comes out.
Rest in peace, Visceral, though.
Yeah, I know.
This should be their thing, but
that's the dark undercurrent about this whole entire thing, considering how that studio was just screwed over.
Yeah, absolutely they were. But if this comes out and it's a hit, I think it's another feather in the cap of EA to say, hey man, we're trying to do better. So, this is the next one that I'm really excited for from an EA studio, to see how they continue to progress here in the gaming world. But Connor, we're just gonna have to wait and see on that. Until then, let's go ahead and jump into a little fun time talking about what we've been playing. Connor, what have you been playing,
yes, buddy? Well, since I've been holed up with COVID, obviously I've played games. I played 2 games specifically. The first one is I jumped back on Horizon Zero Dawn. I told you that I was going to do that.
Oh.
Actually began playing that.
You picked up where you left off, or did you start over?
No, I actually started over because I picked up where I left off, and it wasn't hitting the same, so I decided I was going to start over.
Too many systems.
Yeah, did a lot of systems, and I've enjoyed my time. I'm almost to the point where I was before. I'm playing on hard this time, which I don't think I did before, because it seems like the main bow and arrow seems a lot less useful than it used to be in terms of like hitting enemy weak points. But
how deep
overall,
did you get the first time?
I got to level 22, and it was like 15 hours in.
Okay, I think level cap is at 50. Or 50.
Oh, it is?
I could be wrong. It could be like 40 or something. I don't remember. Here, let me just look it up for you. Anyways, yeah. So it's hard, is it?
It's a hard game. I just got to the Karja area, the the monsters the dinosaurs, robot dinosaurs that I got to fight are way more difficult in that area than I faced before. I started a whole fight.
Level cap is level 60. And if
60, okay.
If I remember right, I did everything in that game, and I hit 60 well before the end of the game.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
You do level up quickly in this game.
You do. Anyways, continue.
Overall, the game itself is really kept up by the whole dinosaur plot, where they came from, and even, all the way up to where you just fight them in normal battles, because the human enemies kind of get a little bit iffy in terms of how
not the best fighting when you fight the normal dudes. Not the best.
No, because they seem to go down really, really quickly in comparison to the machines, and you just like hit them with the heavy tech with the spear, and usually that's enough to take care of them. Because usually I think you can score a critical hit on them after points like that. Overall, I won't lie, I'm a little bit underwhelmed going back to it by the bow in comparison to the spear. Because I always seem to go for spear attacks. They just seem a lot more. Yeah, they always seemed a lot more effective.
What are you? What?
Like the other weapons are good.
Spear is a piece of shit. What?
See, I think I'm doing pretty good with it. I'm getting critical hits all over the place, taking down enemies.
Nah, dude, get the tripwire thing, get the little slingshot thing.
Yeah, no, I love those. Mine's the main arrow.
There's the
main bow and arrow.
The main bow and arrow. Maybe you just need to get deeper.
That's the only area
you might invest in some bow and arrow upgrades or something, because the bow is nasty in Zero Dawn. To my memory, I've played since whenever that came out, 2015 or whatever.
Well, the sharpshooter bow's really good. That packs a big punch.
Yeah.
But the story's interesting. I mean, obviously, I haven't gotten that far into the game. Even back when I played it in, I guess somewhere last year. I don't even remember when the last time I played that game was.
The deeper you get, the more involved the story becomes, and it continuously gets better as you keep going.
Yeah, I guess that, because even now, hours in, it's still you're still just trying to find Olin. That's mainly
yeah, dude, you got a lot left to go.
Before I get to Olin, or just in general?
Just in general. Yeah, to my memory, yeah. I mean, it's been 5 years now. But yeah, no, there's a lot in that game that you're just. That was a 2017 game, because that came out the same year as Zelda.
Oh.
But yeah, no, dude, you've got a lot left to go, and it's the story has a lot more layers that it's yet to reveal to you, and
nice.
I'm excited to see where you end up with that.
Yeah, I'll get back to you more on that. Play more of the game, because I actually put that on hold because I started another game that I had played a little bit of before, and that's Jedi Fallen Order.
Oh.
Yeah, I know you didn't expect that one, did you?
I did not.
No, yeah, so I've been playing that for a while. That's mostly where I put my time in recently.
Okay. It's a shorter game. You'll get done with it faster.
Yeah, I think I'm near the end anyway, so shouldn't be that much longer. I'm on. I think I'm going to Kashyyyk for the second time.
Okay. Yeah, you're past. If my memory is correct, you're past the halfway point.
Yeah, I figured I got past that at some point.
I just don't remember.
Especially considering how much I've played.
I just don't remember where. Have you? Go ahead. Tell me about.
Yeah,
tell me about
more of my thoughts. Overall, it's pretty good. I'm not crazy about it. It's not a particularly memorable game. I love the Star Wars aesthetic going on. I think it's so far. I haven't played many Star Wars games. Like most of my experience with Star Wars games was the movie tie-in games back in like the PS2 days.
Right.
But that third game was really fun, and Star Wars Battlefront. But I do really like the vibe of actually playing as a Jedi and using Force powers, unlocking Force powers, and using that to dispatch your enemies. One of my biggest issues with the game is that I've never really connected to the combat yet. It's serviceable, but and I know it's very heavily influenced by Dark Souls.
Clearly.
My playstyle has helped a lot because originally I treated it as more of a generic action game, so I would run up and like do a lot of attacks as quickly as possible.
Oh, it's
quickly
not,
realized
that's a Force Unleashed tactic right there, my friend. No,
yes,
you don't want to do that.
No, yeah. That was kind of it felt like a game that kind of play style would be the one that it would go for. So that Dark Souls element, surprisingly for me, wasn't doing as much for me as
I think it's
otherwise.
That intro sets up gamers for a different type of game.
It does. It
that intro
really,
sets
really
you up
does.
For like an Uncharted-esque game, but you're not playing an Uncharted. You're playing a quasi 3D Metroidvania with Dark Souls.
Yeah, I know, and that surprised me. It put me off for the first couple hours. I actually didn't think I was going to continue with the game because I wasn't a big fan of it. But I warmed up to it. I started really enjoying the exploration aspects of the game, which is what's taken a lot of my time. I love trying to find. I love doubling back to go to areas to get new lightsaber, appearance changes. Yeah, and getting new outfits. That kind of stuff I really, really like, especially with a game like this. Got to get the ponchos. I've got actually the least amount of ponchos compared to like every other thing in the game, like lightsabers and mantis skins. And
there's a lot of different like parts and stuff, but but there's like 30 fucking ponchos.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of customization.
There is a lot of customization, and I really appreciate that. I also appreciate how if you go to the fucking Disney, what is it called, Galaxy something, whatever their Star Wars exhibit is over at Disney. You can build your Jedi Fallen Order lightsaber at that place.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because like the parts are so because like it's all within canon and stuff, so they're using in canon parts at the Disney joint, and they're using in canon parts in the game.
Yeah, and that's been one of my favorite parts of the game because it wouldn't really have been a game that would have benefited from like a bunch of different collectibles or items that you could use in combat. So I like that it's simplified it down to you're just getting like
cosmetic shit.
Cosmetic stuff, yeah, cosmetic. That's what I was looking for. The story's the story seems like it's kind of hasn't really gone anywhere. The overarching plot, that is. There's other smaller things going on that have actually progressed. I don't want to say anything, go into too much deep detail. Obviously, even though the game's been out for a while.
It's been out for a while. Have you been to Dathomir yet?
No, that was the next thing I was going to bring up because it seems kind of like that's an extra area rather than a main story area.
Well,
is it?
It starts that way because the game does let you explore and go to different planets out of order. But the main plot does bring you to Dathomir.
Oh, so it's gonna make me go there.
Yeah, and Dathomir's tough.
I know. That's why I went there first before Zepho, and instantly realized maybe this wasn't the place I should have gone to first.
Yeah, see, I did that, and I banged my head against the wall for like an hour, and got to the point to where like I couldn't explore anymore there, and then I went to Zepho, and then I was just cakewalking everything, and I was like, oh, I should have come here first.
Yeah, that would have been good to know.
Did you fight the frog, Connor? The infamous frog?
The infamous frog?
Yeah,
Where?
on that first planet where like the Jedi Temple is, where you find what is his name? What is the droid's name?
BD-1?
BD-1. Where you find BD-1. There's a hidden boss fight where you fight a giant frog. There's giant frogs throughout that world. But there is specifically a boss fight in there that like most players like. That's like the first like real challenge that they find.
See, I found that when I went back to Bogano, and I wiped the floor with them. Yeah, but I could see that it being a hard fight.
Oh yeah, it's literally like your time window is short. You don't have any force powers. So yeah, there was a lot of players who were like, "Fuck, man, this frog is kicking my ass." Even though it's just it's a like secret like hidden like you have to go like pretty far off the beaten path to find it. Yeah. I remember finding that fight before I even completed the main plot on that planet, and then spending 30 minutes fighting that goddamn frog.
You fought him the first time you went to that planet.
Absolutely, I did.
Yeah, I didn't find him until the second one.
Yeah.
So I missed out on that.
So yeah, well,
But
go ahead.
only have a little bit left of the game, so I'll give you the rest of my take on that.
I think you have more. I think you have more. To my memory, you have more than you're probably expecting. Like, you've still got a couple of hours left.
Right, I expect that.
You know, you're less in the 2 to 3 range. You're more in the 6 to 9 range probably.
Okay.
Left. So depending, because there's a lot you can do on Dathomir. There's some other planets that you probably haven't been to yet, and I just don't remember where in the plot going back to Kashyyyk falls. So, oh well. In terms of Jedi Fallen Order as a whole, I mostly agree with everything you said. The combat is, you know, good, not great, serviceable for what it's trying to do. Story, pretty generic. But, you know, it has some moments specifically in the later third that I think are fantastic moments. They have one of the best references. It's in the main plot. One of the best references to the Clone Wars cartoon show that you would only know if you've watched the show.
Which planet is that?
There is a character you haven't met who speaks on their people got wiped out by the droid army and somebody carrying lightsabers. And it's a reference to General Grievous. But it's, you know, it's done that way where, like, she doesn't know who Grievous was. She just knows that, you know, this dude pulled up some lightsabers and wiped out her people. So it was like, oh, this is cool.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of love in Jedi Fallen Order. There's a lot of Star Wars love in there, and I'm excited for the sequel. How are you doing with glitches? I remember glitches being a big issue when I first played the game.
Not glitches, but massive frame rate drops, like massive ones.
Yep.
Almost to the point where I had to turn it off and, you know, let my PS4 rest before coming back to it. Like, pop-ins would happen and things like that.
You're playing on PS4, by the way.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, because there's a PS5 version of the game out now.
That's understandable. That's probably the better way to play it.
Probably
most likely.
But yeah, that was my experience. A lot of frame rate drops, a lot of texture issues, and then there was just a lot of glitches when I played it back in the day. That game came out a little half baked, but, you know, the core was mostly solid, so people were very forgiving towards it. Some were, you know, too forgiving for it, and were giving it like 9s. And I was like, what the fuck are y'all smoking? This, like, I love Star Wars, but this game is not a 9.
It is not.
No, but solid game, worth your time. I'm glad you're finally jumping in, because you know, as far as Soulsborne games, it's clearly like bottom tier of all of them, but it's still got merit. It's still worth playing.
I don't know, man. There's some bad Soulsborne games out there. Soulsborne copies, or I think not copies, but specifically influenced.
Specifically talking towards the successful ones, being the From Software ones, and this one.
Yeah, that's
so, like, it's no From Software game, but it's a solid game. Anyways, yeah. So fantastic.
That's what I'm playing.
You doing some Jedi? You doing some Horizon? Great. I'm glad that we're on this trend of playing old games, Connor.
Oh, what are you doing? Don't say it.
First of all, I want to get this out. I've mostly been playing Splitgate. That's mostly what I've been doing. I'm addicted. Still playing that. Working my way through that battle pass. It's a lot of fun. It's a great time. Second of all, I haven't had that much time to play video games this week, and it looks like this, with how my work schedule is this next week, I'm not going to have a lot of time to play next week either. Now, in my limited time, Connor, does that mean I'm playing something worth my while? Something that would you know, widen my range of knowledge of the video game industry? Am I going back and playing some classic that I never had the chance to play as a younger man? No.
What are you playing,
Connor? What if I told you? What if I posed to you a question, Connor? That question is, why are we still here? Just to suffer? Just to...
That's the worst game in the series. You told me that.
It's not the worst game in the series, Connor. It's not. But yeah, I'm playing Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain, everybody. It's not.
I thought you said 4 was better than that.
I'm not proud of it. 4's got a better story. And that's saying something. But 5 has solid, fun gameplay.
It does have fun gameplay.
listen, man, I'm not proud of it. I'm not happy about it. I've got so much on my list. I need to get back to Death's Door. I need to play Boyfriend Dungeon. I need to play Psychonauts. I know. Okay, I know. I need to return to Returnal at some point. I know. All right. But over this last year, we did hype Metal Gear Solid, twitch.tv/2pennygames, and twitch.tv and youtube.com/2pennygamescast, where you can watch Phil's first time playing through Metal Gear Solid 1. Listen, man, I've had the Metal Gear itch all year, and I've been dying to scratch it, and I haven't really had the opportunity to scratch it. And I just keep the algorithms on YouTube. They just keep throwing me Metal Gear videos, man. I've watched a Metal Gear Solid 4 breakdown video that's 3 hours long. No, that's wrong. I recently watched a history of Metal Gear documentary that just came out the other day by some YouTube channel that was like 3 hours long, and then I watched a 2-hour Metal Gear Solid 4 plot breakdown, and it was all great. All right, Connor, it was all great content, and it made me want to play some Metal Gear, and this is what I chose to do.
You're a drunk, Tavin.
I've been revisiting.
You have stimuli. You have stimuli affecting your decisions to play games. See, what I was gonna do, if I was going to play something else, was get caught up on the No More Heroes games. But good to know you're playing Phantom Pain. Good to know.
It seems like people not caring for this No More Heroes 3.
Really?
That's what I'm hearing.
A lot of people liked it.
No, I'm hearing No More Heroes 3 not a hit.
Huh.
People like the first two games. People seem to like the second one the most. But people like the first two games. People like the, what was it, No More Heroes, Trevor Strikes Again or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah. People seem to like that. I'm hearing some mixed receptions on this third game. But what do I know? I don't know anything about that franchise. Anyways, Metal Gear Solid 5, Phantom Pain. I started over all the way from the beginning. And let me tell you, Connor, first couple of hours of this game are the most Kojima-esque things in the worst ways.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I got like 3 hours in, and I was like, you know what? Honestly, I had a better time in Death Stranding than I'm having right now. And then
that's saying something.
And then finally, I was able to start doing the missions. The world was opening up. I was starting to Fulton dudes out, and I was like, oh, okay, no, this is fun. This is a great time. This is good. This is exciting. So yeah, I'm playing Metal Gear, and I guess later this week I'll be playing Deathloop because Deathloop comes out this next week. And then just in time for the Death Stranding director's cut.
Just in time.
I'm not happy about this either, buddy. Let me put this out. Let me make sure this is clear.
But you still do it.
I'm still doing it, and I'm not going to stop.
Oh, you're playing it all the way.
No, I'm not playing it all the way, but I'm going to play more. I'm definitely going to play more because it's fun. Anyways, Connor.
That's been your other game that you've taken up your time with.
That's been what I'm doing. All right. And that's really going to be it for the 2 Penny Games Cast, episode 59. Thank you so much for listening. If you liked it, if you got this far, please remember to drop a like, a comment, a subscribe, all of that stuff. Remember, you can catch us youtube.com/2pennygamescast, or mainstream podcast services of your choice, SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast. Please rate and follow all of those platforms as well. If you want to watch us play live, remember we're going live, twitch.tv/2pennygames. I go live every once in a while, just solo streaming. I went live with Phantom Pain earlier yesterday or Saturday from when you're hearing this, and I played some Phantom Pain, had some Metal Gear fans hop into my chat. It's always weird whenever you play like some random game, and like you'll always get like some fan like just drop in and be like, yo, this is great, and I'm like, all right, yeah, man, I'm having a good time too. But our main show is Hype. Have you ever played over on Tuesdays, 1 p.m. twitch.tv/2pennygames. And we're finishing off Uncharted 2. Phil's working his way through Uncharted 2. We're going to polish that off and probably start Jack and Daxter 2 as well. So please come join us for that. Other than that, everybody have a great rest of your week. Thank you so much for listening. And Connor, COVID contractor Connor, say goodbye to the people.
Bye, guys.
Get well soon, buddy.
I will.